Imagine waiting a year for the most important party of your life, only to hear 5 words that change everything. I do not know you. This isn't just a story about being late, it is a chilling eschatological warning found in Matthew 25. Today, we are going deep into the extreme details, from the high-stakes legalities of first-century Jewish weddings to the love duets of J.S. Bach and a medieval flowchart of belief that identifies a terrifying concept called passive resistance. To understand a parable, we have to reset our view of weddings. In the first century, there was no dating as we know it. Families and village ties were the deciding factors. A couple entered a betrothal or erusin, which was a binding legal act that made them husband and wife under the law of Moses, even though they lived apart. The groom spent roughly a year preparing a home, often in addition to his father's house, while the bride prepared her garments. The surprise was the groom's arrival. While the families knew the general time, they never knew the exact night or hour. He would arrive at night with music and torchbearers to escort his bride in a grand procession. If you weren't ready the moment the cry went out, you were literally left in the dark. In Jesus' story, 10 virgins wait for the groom. 5 are wise, and 5 are foolish. When the groom is delayed, a motif representing the time between Christ's ascension and his return, they all fall asleep. Suddenly, at midnight, a cry rings out, "Here is the bridegroom!" The wise virgins had brought extra flasks of oil, but the foolish had none. When the foolish asked to borrow oil, they were refused. Why? Because in this spiritual allegory, oil is something that cannot be transferred from one person to another. While the foolish were away trying to buy oil, the groom arrived, the wedding party entered, and the door was shut. History has interpreted this in fascinating, extreme ways. Take the legendary composer J.S. Bach. In his famous cantata BWV 140, Wachet auf, he treats the parable as a love duet between Christ, the bass, and the soul, the soprano. He even uses a violino piccolo, a tiny high-pitched violin, to simulate a nighttime serenade, turning a story of judgment into one of Christian mysticism and intense yearning. But there is a darker side. A 15th century manuscript known as the Carthusian Miscellany features a grand flowchart of belief. In this artistic interpretation, the foolish virgins aren't just unprepared, they represent passive resistance. They fail, by mistake, like an accidental slip of a mascara wand, yet this accidental failure to participate in the metaphor of salvation leads them directly into a hellmouth, while the wise ascend to a guarded kingdom. So, what is the oil? Depending on the tradition, the answer varies. The Holy Spirit and faith. Lutheran traditions suggest the oil is the Holy Spirit working through the Word to sustain the flame of faith. Good deeds and charity. St. John Chrysostom and the Midrash Rabbah explicitly identify the oil as good deeds or charitable action. You cannot borrow a life of service from a neighbor at the last minute. Preparedness. It is the internal state of the heart that watches for Christ by responding to him through faith. The parable concludes with a stark command. Watch therefore, for you know neither the day nor the hour. This story is the setup for the parable of the talents, which moves from the internal state of the heart to the external accountability of what we do with what we've been given. If you enjoyed this exploration of sacred symbols, please like, subscribe, and share your favorite insight in the comments. Don't let your lamp go out.